You're standing on the promenade deck of the largest moving object ever created by human hands, and the night air is so cold it burns your lungs. April 14th, 1912, 11:35 p.m. You've just finished a late dinner in second class, roast chicken, boiled potatoes, simple but satisfying, and now you're out here because you couldn't sleep. The ocean stretches endlessly in every direction, black as ink, perfectly calm. No moon tonight, just stars. Thousands of them, more than you've ever seen in your life, scattered across the sky like broken glass on velvet. You grip the railing, and the metal feels like ice even through your gloves. Somewhere below you, in the belly of this floating palace, coal trimmers are shoveling fuel into furnaces that never stop burning. You can't hear them from up here. All you hear is the low, constant thrum of the engines, a sound that's become so familiar over the past 4 days that you barely notice it anymore. It's the heartbeat of the ship, steady, reliable, unstoppable. You're headed to New York, a new life, maybe a brother waiting at Ellis Island, or a job in a factory, or just the promise of something better than what you left behind in Southampton. You paid $13 for your ticket, nearly 2 months' wages, but it's worth it. This ship is unsinkable. Everyone says so. The newspapers, the crew, even the captain himself, Edward Smith, a man with 40 years of experience and a white beard that makes him look like God. You light a cigarette and watch the smoke drift away into the darkness. Somewhere to your left, you hear laughter. A group of third-class passengers have snuck up here, playing cards under a dim electric light, their voices bright and careless. They're Irish, you think, or maybe Polish. You can't quite tell. But their joy is contagious, and for a moment you smile. This is what hope sounds like. And then, far ahead, you see it. At first, you think it's a cloud, a white shape rising from the water, ghostly and immense. But clouds don't stay still like that. You squint. The shape grows larger, clearer. It's ice, a mountain of it, towering above the ocean, its edges glowing faintly in the starlight. You've seen icebergs before. Everyone on board has been talking about them, but this one is different. It's massive, and it's directly in the ship's path. You expect the ship to turn. Of course it will turn. The lookouts in the crow's nest must have seen it by now. Frederick Fleet and Reginald Lee, 2 men with binoculars and a bell, and the responsibility of keeping 4,500 tons of steel from hitting anything. You wait for the alarm, for the engine to cut, for the deck to tilt as the rudder swings hard to port. But nothing happens. The Titanic keeps moving. 22 knots, full speed ahead. You drop your cigarette, it falls through the railing and disappears into the black water below. Your heart starts to pound. Why isn't the ship turning? You look around for someone, anyone, but the promenade is nearly empty now. The card players are gone. The laughter has stopped. It's just you and the cold and the iceberg growing larger with every second. And then you hear it. 3 bells, sharp and urgent. The signal for object directly ahead. The ship begins to turn, but it's slow, agonizingly slow, like trying to steer a building. The bow swings to port, but the iceberg is already too close. You can see it now in horrifying detail. Jagged edges, deep blue shadows, chunks of ice calving off into the water. It's beautiful, deadly, inevitable. The impact is almost gentle, a grinding sound, low and metallic, like a key scraping against a lock. The deck shudders beneath your feet. Not violently, just a faint vibration that travels up through your shoes and into your bones. Some passengers don't even wake up. Others stumble out of their cabins, confused, half-dressed, asking what happened. You hear someone laugh. "We hit an iceberg," a man shouts, as if it's a joke, as if it's nothing. But you know, deep in your gut, you know. You run to the starboard side and look down. There, just above the waterline, you see it, chunks of ice scattered across the deck. They're small, harmless looking, like hailstones after a storm. A few passengers are already picking them up, tossing them to each other, laughing. One man kicks a piece across the deck like a soccer ball. Children chase after it, shrieking with delight. Below deck, something else is happening, something no one up here can see. The iceberg didn't just scrape the side of the ship, it tore it open. Not a long gash, like you might imagine, but a series of small holes, punctures along the hull where rivets popped and seams split under the pressure. Water is rushing in now, cold and relentless, flooding the forward compartments. The mailroom, the squash court, the third-class cabins where families are still sleeping, where children are curled up under thin blankets, dreaming of America. Thomas Andrews, the ship's designer, is already awake. He's down in the bowels of the Titanic with a pencil and paper, doing the math. 6 compartments flooded. The ship can survive 4, maybe 5. But 6? Impossible. He calculates the angle, the weight, the rate of flooding. 2 hours, he thinks, maybe less. And then he goes to find Captain Smith. You don't know any of this yet. You're still on deck, watching the ice, watching the crew pretend everything is fine, but you notice small things. The way the officers are moving a little faster now. The way the deck is starting to tilt, just slightly, barely noticeable, but enough that your glass of water would slide if you set it down. At 12:05 a.m., Captain Smith gives the order, uncover the lifeboats. You feel a spike of fear. Lifeboats. Why would they need lifeboats? The ship is unsinkable. But then you see the crew struggling with the canvas covers, fumbling with ropes they've never practiced untying, and you realize they don't know what they're doing. Most of them have never launched a lifeboat before. They've never had to. If you can't look away from what's coming, drop a comment. Which forgotten disaster should we live through next? The first lifeboat is lowered at 12:45 a.m. It's designed to hold 65 people. It leaves with 28. Most of them are first-class women and children, wrapped in fur coats, clutching jewelry boxes, still convinced this is just a precaution. They don't want to leave the warm, brightly lit ship for a tiny wooden boat in the freezing darkness. Some refuse outright. I'm not getting in that thing, a woman says, pulling her arm away from an officer. We'll wait for the rescue ships. But there are no rescue ships. Not yet. The closest one, the Carpathia, is 58 miles away. Even at full speed, it won't arrive for 4 hours. You're in second class, so you're not allowed near the first-class lifeboats. You have to wait. You stand on deck with hundreds of others, watching the bow sink lower and lower, watching the water creep up the forward decks, swallowing benches and railings and windows. The ship's lights are still burning, every single one of them, casting golden reflections on the black water. It looks almost peaceful, almost beautiful. At 1:30 a.m., the band starts playing. 8 men in formal uniforms, standing on the tilting deck, playing ragtime and waltzes as if this is just another evening. You recognize the band leader, Wallace Hartley, a violinist from England. He's playing Nearer My God to Thee, and the sound of it, slow, mournful, sacred, cuts through the chaos like a knife. People stop shouting, stop running. For just a moment, they listen. By 2:00 a.m., the ship is standing nearly vertical. You're clinging to the railing now, your feet slipping on the wet deck, your hands numb from the cold. All around you, people are screaming, praying, jumping into the water. The lifeboats are gone, all of them. And there are still over 1,500 people on board. You see a mother holding her children, whispering to them, smoothing their hair. You see a priest giving last rites to a group of third-class passengers who couldn't get past the locked gates. You see an old couple sitting together on a bench holding hands, waiting for the end. At 2:20 a.m., the Titanic breaks in half. The sound is indescribable. A roar of tearing metal, shattering glass, exploding boilers. The stern rises impossibly high, 45 degrees, maybe more. And for a moment it hangs there, suspended, the propellers dripping seawater, the lights flickering one last time. And then it slides beneath the surface, pulling everything with it. The suction is so strong it drags people under, lifeboats and debris and bodies all swirling together in a massive whirlpool. And then, silence. The ocean is calm again, flat, empty. Just wreckage and stars and the distant sound of people calling for help. You're in the water now. The cold is beyond anything you've ever felt. It's not just painful, it's crushing, like your chest is being squeezed in a vice. You can't breathe, can't think. You try to swim, but your limbs won't move. Hypothermia sets in within minutes. Your body shuts down. Your vision blurs. The last thing you see is the sky. The same stars that seemed so beautiful just 2 hours ago. They don't care. They never did. The Titanic sank because of a series of small, preventable failures. Not enough lifeboats. Only 20 for over 2,000 people because regulations hadn't caught up with shipbuilding technology. Warnings ignored, at least 6 iceberg alerts that day, dismissed because the night was clear and the crew was confident. A locked gate between third class and the boat deck, trapping the poorest passengers below. Rivets made from cheap iron instead of steel, which cracked under pressure. But more than anything, it sank because people believed it couldn't. They believed in human progress, in engineering, in the unstoppable march of modernity. They built a ship so grand, so perfect, that they forgot the ocean doesn't care about human arrogance. Of the 224 people on board, only 7 in 10 survived. Most of them died not from drowning, but from hypothermia. The water was 28 degrees, cold enough to kill in 15 minutes. Their bodies floated for days, recovered by ships sent to collect the dead. Many were never identified. They were buried at sea or in mass graves in Halifax, Nova Scotia, marked only with numbers. The Titanic wasn't forgotten, not like other disasters, but its true lesson often is. We remember the romance, the tragedy, the band playing as the ship went down. But we forget the inequity. First-class passengers had a 62% survival rate. Third class, 25%. We forget that lifeboats launched half empty because officers prioritized wealth over lives. We forget that the ship's designer, Thomas Andrews, stayed on board until the end, trying to save as many people as he could, knowing he'd failed. History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. The Titanic was a monument to hubris, to the belief that we've conquered nature, that disaster can't touch us, that some things are too big to fail. We've built new Titanics since then, taller buildings, faster planes, financial systems we swore were unsinkable, and every time the ocean reminds us, nothing is. If this moment chills you to the bone, hit subscribe so you never miss the next time history turns dark. Sources and references: National Archives of the United Kingdom, Board of Trade Inquiry Records, 1912, Encyclopedia Titanica, Passenger and Crew Biographies, www.encyclopediatitanica.org, Butler, Daniel Allen, Unsinkable, The Full Story of the RMS Titanic, Stackpole Books, 1998, Lord, Walter, A Night to Remember, Henry Holt and Company, 1955, British Wreck Commissioner's Inquiry Report, 1912, National Archives reference BT 33462, Smithsonian Magazine, A New Look at Titanic's Sinking, 2012, United States Senate Inquiry into the Sinking of the RMS Titanic, 1912,